There. Thank you so much for tuning in to Hawks the Loft's education videos. My name is Maggie, and this week we're taking a little break from our usual raptor and corvid conversations to discuss one of my very favorite water birds, the great blue herons. These are birds that I grew up with a real appreciation for, and it was a type of bird that my family and I would always point out to one another while we were near water. It's also a bird that myself and a lot of Hawks Aloft staff and volunteers had a really cool field experience with recently. So we'll go ahead and get started. So these are some gorgeous pictures of great blue herons. And when I say herons, I mean that is a category of birds that are classified by their long stilted legs, their long necks, and the fact that they eat fish. Great blue herons have that beautiful bluish gray coloration with stripes of white and gray on their front. They also have that really distinct bar line above their eyes and those black shoulder patches that you can see on the picture on the left. For great blue herons, the males and females look extremely similar, and it would be probably impossible to tell the difference just by birding. But the juveniles do look a lot different than the adults. Not a lot different, but somewhat different. They have darker plumage and not as bright legs. They also do not have the plumes that you can see in the left-hand picture. So they just haven't grown them yet. And those plumes go down the back of their neck, their head, and their back. So those are the distinguishing features of our great blue herons. And they are the largest herons in North America with a 6-foot wingspan. And sometimes they can be confused because they are so big with sandhill cranes by newbie birders, especially while in flight. But one good way to tell the difference between a great blue heron and a sandhill crane while they're flying is sandhill cranes leave their necks extended straight while flying. And great blue herons actually fold their neck into an S shape while flying. So that's a good way to tell the difference between those two. So this is a map brought to us by Birds of the World of the great blue heron range. And you can see they're very widespread in North America and a little bit into South America. One thing in common with all of these areas that these herons are in is that they like to hang out by bodies of water. Those bodies of waters can be freshwater, saltwater, rivers, lakes, marshes, mangroves, all different types of water, but they do require or prefer to be near water as their number one food source is fish. So you can see in New Mexico here, most of our great blue herons are year-round residents, with the exception of those in the northwest of our state. And like I said, they like to eat fish mainly, but they have been recorded eating lizards, amphibians, sometimes even small rodents, which I thought was really surprising. And their hunting method is they usually wade through the water and grab fish, or they'll even use their big beaks to spear the fish, which I did not know until researching this. So that's our range of our great blue herons. And so here's just that example picture of the bird with its neck folded in flight. They're, like I said, really commonly spread, and they're not a species that is critically threatened currently. They're pretty much safe, but they do have a tendency to hang out near fish farms, which could create potential problems for the bird with those fish farmers. But it turns out that great blue herons, while they're near those fish farms, studies have shown that they're usually only eating fish that are sick. And the way they know that is they eat the fish that are up near the surface of the water that would probably die anyway, or the fish farmer would have to weed out of their fish farm. So that's a pretty cool thing. They're actually really helpful to fish farmers. And I know I've seen personally a great blue heron swoop down and take a fish right off the surface of the water when I was younger, which was really, really special. So these birds, while they're nesting, they nest in colonies near their bodies of water and their food sources. And the size of the colony is directly related to how much usable habitat is in that area and how much of a food source that they have. So, for example, it was recorded on Birds of the World that there was a colony that was over 1,000 pairs of great blue herons together, which is just crazy to think about. And when they're in those colonies, they're usually nesting in tall trees near their food source, or they have been recorded nesting on the ground if it's hidden enough. But in those colonies, they still are in monogamous pairs. And while they're there, they lay clutches of eggs of between 3 and 7 eggs, which I thought was a lot. And so, like I said, myself and some of our staff and volunteers had a really cool experience with great blue herons recently in the Jemez Mountains. So we were lucky enough to find one of these colonies in the Jemez, and it was really, really awesome to see. There were 3 nests, and we got some really cool footage thanks to Larry Reimer of those birds. So we'll go ahead and play one of those videos. So you can see there is another bird in the nest sitting. And this video doesn't really do it justice. That tree is really tall, and they're right at the tippy top. So really cool to see. And one thing we did learn by watching them and just through research after we saw them is that great blue herons will continue to add sticks to the nest, even when there are incubation, even when incubation is occurring and there are chicks in the nest. So we saw many times one of the individuals of the pair flying in with sticks, even though there were babies in the nest. So this is one of the nests. And this colony had 3 nests that we were able to observe, 2 of which still had females incubating eggs. But then we also had one that had 4 chicks in it. So here's a video of that nest. And this video also it's hard to capture how big this nest was. It was pretty big. When I first saw it, I thought, oh my gosh, what is a bald eagle nest doing here? But it's a great blue heron nest, which I had personally never seen before. So you can see that baby in the middle is demonstrating a begging behavior, really just wants some food. There are 4 babies in that nest, so there are 2 others that are tucked away. Super cool. And then here we have the pair flying in. And you can see those beautiful plumes on that adult's neck and on the back of their head and their back, and those black shoulder patches. They are really, really cool birds. And one thing I learned too by watching these birds is they actually feed through regurgitation like a lot of different species do. But for some reason, I didn't think that herons did, which is super, super interesting. So thank you so much for tuning into our video about great blue herons. And thank you to all our photographers that we used their photos for this week. Please make sure you like and share this video. That helps us get more viewers. And look for our video next week, all about a different topic. So thanks so much.